Welcome to a story time. Did you ever stop to think for a minute what makes you special and unique? What makes you different from other people? What are some talents that you have that maybe somebody else might not have? What cool things can you do? Our story today is about a little Native American Indian boy who kind of always felt different than the other boys in his tribe. He had different talents. Talents are things that you can do. The other boys in the tribe, they were strong, they were fast, and they grew up to be warriors for the tribe. But this character, he was not. He was smaller than everybody else, but there was something he could do better than everybody else. It was his very own talent. Our story today is called The Legend of the Indian Paintbrush. And there is the boy. This story was retold and illustrated by Tommy DePaula. And let's see what happens to this Native American boy. The Legend of the Indian Paintbrush. There he is. That's when he was smaller. Many years ago, when the people traveled the plains and lived in a circle of teepees, over here, that's the teepees, that's where they lived. See the big giant sticks wrapped around with animal skins, painted with designs. That's where they lived, the teepees. When the people traveled the plains and lived in a circle of teepees, there was a boy who was smaller than the rest of the children. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't keep up with the other boys who were always riding, running, shooting their bows, and wrestling to prove their strength. Sometimes his mother and father worried for him. Do your mother and fathers and grandparents and family members sometimes worry about you? Yeah, our family does worry about us. But the boy who was called Little Gopher was his name. They don't have names like me and you. They have kind of cool names named after animals or things that they can do. And his name was Little Gopher when he was little. And I say that that's his name when he was little because when he grows up, he gets to pick a new name that he earns. So we'll see what his new name will be later. The little boy who was called Little Gopher was not without a gift of his own. From an early age, he made toy warriors from scraps of leather and pieces of wood. And he loved to decorate smooth stones with the red juices from berries he found in the hills. The wise shaman of the tribe understood that Little Gopher had a gift that was special. This is the wise shaman. And he knew that Little Gopher was creative. Creative is when you know how to make things and you can do art or build things, and that's what Little Gopher could do. He wasn't fast or strong, he was creative. The wise shaman of the tribe understood that Little Gopher had a gift that was special. Do not struggle, Little Gopher. Your path will not be the same as others. They will grow up to be warriors. Your place among the people will be remembered for a different reason. So Little Gopher is not going to be a warrior. He's going to do something else. Now he's growing up. He's getting to be a bigger boy, like a teenager now. And in a few years, when Little Gopher was older, he went out to the hills alone to think about becoming a man. And for this was the custom of his tribe. So when you're getting older and you're thinking about growing up, you have to go out to the hills and think about it. And it was there that a dream vision came to him. A dream vision is what he had. He had a dream, but he was not sleeping. He was awake. It was an awake dream. The sky filled with clouds, and out of them came a young Indian maiden and an old grandfather. She carried a rolled-up animal skin. When we draw on things, we usually draw on like paper and stuff, but he paints and draws on animal skin, and that's what she had. She carried a rolled-up animal skin, and he carried a brush made of fine animal hairs and lots of paints. Paints and paintbrushes? I wonder who they're going to give them to. The grandfather spoke.
My son, these are the tools by which you shall become great among your people. You will paint pictures of the deeds of the warriors and the visions of the shaman, and the people shall see them and remember them forever.
So the old grandfather in the clouds telling him that instead of being a warrior, he's going to write about what the warriors did. And that is how he's going to be great, because he's going to write and draw and make the stories. So he's going to be like the author and the illustrator of all the stories. The maiden unrolled a pure white buckskin and placed it on the ground. Find a buckskin as white as this, she told him. Keep it, and one day you will paint a picture that is as pure as the colors in the evening sky. So she's telling him to get a buckskin. That's the skin of an animal that he was going to paint on, and save it for when he makes his most beautiful picture of all, of the sky. And as she finished speaking, the clouds cleared and a sunset of great beauty filled the sky. Little Gopher looked at the white buckskin, and on it he saw colors as bright and beautiful as those made by the setting sun. So she's showing him that he has to make this painting someday. This painting matches the sky in the night. Well, in the evening before it gets to be all the way dark. And that is called a what? It's a sunset. Yep. So he has to paint that sunset, his dream vision. Then the sun slowly sank behind the hills and the sky grew dark, because sunsets don't stay a long time, only a little bit, and then it gets dark. And the dream vision was over. Little Gopher returned to the circle of the people. So he's done, he's going to go home, and now that he's all done thinking about growing up and what he's going to do, now he's going to try and do the things he was told. The next day, he began to make soft brushes from the hairs of different animals. Did you ever notice that about paintbrushes? Have you ever looked at them? It looks like hair, right? So he is making his paintbrushes out of the hairs of animals. So the next day, he began to make soft brushes from the hairs of different animals and stiff brushes from the hairs of the horses' tails. He carried berries and flowers and rocks of different colors and crushed them to make his paints. No, he doesn't go to the store to get paints. He makes them. If he finds a red berry, he will smash that red berry to make red paint. If he finds a yellow flower, he can smash that yellow flower to make yellow paint. And if he finds a purple rock, he can smash that rock to make powder and add some water, and then he makes purple paint. He collected the skins of animals which the warriors brought home from their hunts. He stretched the skins on wooden frames and pulled them until they were tight. So here he takes the skins and he stretches them on this wooden frame to make like an easel. An easel is what you might put your paper on while you're painting. And these are the things that he painted. And he began to paint pictures of great hunts. So he's telling the story about that time the hunters were fighting and they got the buffalo, and it was a great day because they got the buffalo. And so when the people of the village come and they look at his painting, they will remember that day. Now, you can remember special days in your life by taking a camera and taking a tick, 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 a picture, right? But a long time ago, they didn't have cameras. So for him to remember special times for his tribe, he has to paint the pictures. And that's what he did. And he painted pictures of great deeds. So this is showing something special that happened with his tribe. Same like if you would take a picture of like a birthday party, something you might want to remember, and you can look at those pictures and say, hey, I remember that time. But the people in his tribe can look at this painting and say, hey, I remember that time. And he painted pictures of great dream visions so that the people would always remember. But even as he painted, little Gopher sometimes longed to put aside his brushes and ride out with the warriors. He's looking at the warriors and he's thinking, I want to go. I want to be like them. Do we sometimes feel like that? If maybe we see a kid going someplace special and we want to go and we think, oh, I want to do that, but we can't. He's kind of feeling that way. But always he remembered his dream vision and he did not go with them because he understood that he had a special job to do. Many months ago, he had found his pure white buckskin, but it remained empty. He did not paint on this one because he could not find the colors of the sunset. He used the brightest flowers, the reddest berries, and the deepest purples from the rocks. And still his paintings never satisfied him. They looked dull and dark. See, this is the picture that he painted. And it's pretty, but it is not as bright as the sunset. He can't seem to find the right colors. He began to go to the top of a hill each evening and look at the colors that filled the sky to try and understand how to make them. When you don't know how to do something, you have to try and figure it out. So that's why he would go up there to try and figure it out. He longed to share the beauty of his dream vision with the people. That means he really wanted to do it and he doesn't know how. But did he give up? No. He never gave up trying. And every morning when he awoke, he took out his brushes and his pots of paint and created the stories of the people with the tools he had. See that he's growing up. He's turning into a grown-up. But he still hasn't been able to make the painting of his dream vision. That could be a little frustrating when you can't do something you want to do, especially when you've been trying for a very long time. One night, as he lay awake, he heard a voice calling to him. Because you have been faithful to the people and true to your gift, you shall find the colors you are seeking. He's seeking something? What is he seeking? Oh, right, he's seeking those bright colors to paint his sunset, yes. Tomorrow, take the white buckskin and go to the place where you watch the sun in the evening. There on the ground, you will find what you need. And what does he need? Bright paint colors. The next evening, as the sun began to go down, little Gopher put aside his brushes and went to the top of the hill. As the colors of the sunset spread across the sky. See, he went just as they spread across the sky. And what do you think he found? What do you think? Take a look. Paintbrushes. He didn't bring those with him. Those were there. There on the ground all around him were brushes filled with paint, each one a color of the sunset. Little Gopher began to paint quickly and surely, using one brush, then another. When he went to the hill, he found all these paintbrushes in the ground waiting for him, and they had all the colors he needed to paint the sunset. And as the colors in the sky began to fade, Little Gopher gazed at the white buckskin, and he was happy. He looked at his picture and he was happy because it's finally right. He finally has the right colors. He had found the colors of the sunset. He carried his painting down to the circle of the people, leaving the brushes on the hill. Rule number 4 is to clean up. And I think Little Gopher was a little bit excited and he forgot to clean up his paintbrushes. He just left them there. Uh-oh. I wonder what's going to happen. The next day, when the people awoke, the hill was ablaze with color, for the brushes had taken root in the earth and multiplied into plants of brilliant reds, oranges, and yellows. So those paintbrushes turned into flowers. Do our paintbrushes really turn into flowers? No, they don't really. So this is a made-up story, and it goes along with that word legend, where it's a story told over and over and over again, trying to describe why something is the way it is. And so these flowers might look like paintbrushes, so they came up with the story about why they are there. And every spring from that time, the hills and meadows burst into bloom. So this fun story has the paintbrushes turning into flowers, and then more and more and more came. And all those beautiful flowers are the colors of the sunset. And every spring, the people danced and sang the praises of Little Gopher, who had painted for the people. And the people no longer called him Little Gopher. Now he gets his grown-up name. They called him He Who Brought the Sunset to the Earth. Brought the sunset to the earth, meaning that he left his paintbrushes there, and all those flowers are the colors of the sunset. That's a very, very long name. He Who Brought the Sunset to the Earth. That's 8 words in his new name. So instead of saying, "Hi, Little Gopher, hi, Little Gopher," now they have to say, "Hi, He Who Brought the Sunset to the Earth. It's nice to meet you, He Who Brought the Sunset to the Earth." That's his new grown-up name. The end. So let's talk about that word talent again. What was Little Gopher's talent? Was he fast? Was he strong? Could he dance really well? Was he artistic? He was artistic and creative. His talent was making art, and he used his talent to tell the stories of his people. Think for a minute. What is something you are good at doing? What is your talent? I would love to know. When you get a chance, let me know what your talent is, okay? All right, friends. Thanks for joining with me. I'll see you later. Bye now.